peeps, and welcome back to Peeping At. This week we are checking out Meeple Station. It is currently in early access, but it has mostly positive reviews on Steam. We're going to be checking out single player today, but you can see that they do have multiplayer planned for the future, and there are some mods up and running. It's made by the developer Vox Games. And it is receiving regular updates. We can see here that there's a whole load of updates. It's just constantly coming in. There was only 4 days between those two, constantly coming in. So well supported game. I thought that we might check it out. So we'll have a little single player here. New game. Oh look, so it looks like there is a campaign planned. We'll go classic. And I think we'll stick with mild for now, given that we are just going to be building a little base and seeing the basic mechanics of the game. Let's check it out. You start with being able to build a ship, and then you launch it by pressing this button. So this is a bit of a free-for-all. We can get some random ships made. So we can press this button and it randomly makes ships for us. Which is absolutely fine, I mean that works out. And it tells you here what the absolute essentials here are in order to survive. But to be honest, I feel like this list is incomplete. I think beds are pretty essential, and not just a food source, but somewhere to sit down and eat it seems to be pretty essential. And yeah, this bench here, this workstation, pretty important as well. I wouldn't not build that before leaving. So I'm not sure how good this essentials list is. These running examples seem to give you a much better starting base. So always a good way to go. We do have some helpful things up here. They are worth reading. But however, what I've noticed is that if you go to left mouse click, which you would think would interact and give you more information, it actually just dismisses, cancels it away, which I think is a little odd. It seems more logical to me, intuitive, to have the right mouse button cancel these things away. But I think we might make our own ship show so we can check out the different bits and bobs, and so I can explain what they are. So here we are, a nice blank canvas for us to build our own little ship in to get us started. We do have credits, so there's only so much that we can build. We can't build a big, luxurious, beautiful ship. And there's stuff here, of course, that hasn't been researched and things like that. You can save a blueprint of a ship, so your starting ship can always be the same if you want. Rather than using one of their examples, you can create your own and save it as a blueprint. I like that. That's a pretty nice little feature. So what have we got here? So let's have a look. A whole segment. We can see they've also got some reinforced hull segments, which are much more expensive. We've got glass ones, little wall bits, docking gantry, all this sort of stuff. We're going to keep it simple because at the moment there's no tutorial for this game, which is proving problematic. So yes, we do have these little things here, but a lot of these tips don't appear until after you've done something, so it makes them a little bit pointless in that respect. They need to be more preemptive. Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't, which is a bit of a shame. And yeah, the useful wiki, if we look at the wiki, okay, so this is the wiki, and it's helpful with the things that it's predicting that you may want. But if you're trying to find something specific on how to do something, it's not that helpful. So yeah, we're going to keep it simple. Now, one of the first things we're going to need is some sort of common room. And in this common room, we are going to make it so that they can eat. And at the beginning of the game here, we have a fish tank. Now this is so they can eat a lot of raw fish. I'm going to pop that in there, and this works quite well as a food source for a while. They will also want to sit down as well. There we go. They're going to want to sit down and eat. Now you start with 4 meeples. I'm hoping though that 1 table and chairs will do the job. that's what I'm hoping for. Excellent. Now we're also going to want some sleeping quarters. Now you can build big communal rooms. They will complain about privacy, particularly the captain. So I think what we might do is give them a communal room over here to get us started. Do you know what? We might make it this big, for the simple reason that you do tend to. For the simple reason that you do start with 4 meeples, and the way to get additional meeples is to have extra beds. So we're going to have, I'm going to have a separate captain's quarter. So we've got a whole bunch of beds, and when a trade ship turns up, extra little meeples should turn up. So we're going to have this as a communal room, and what we'll do here is we will have a little room specifically for the captain. He's a little bit picky, and what we're going to do is we're going to build some bulkheads. Now bulkheads are really good for keeping oxygen in because when we build an airlock later, when they open the airlock, it will suck all the oxygen out of the base, and these bulkheads are the way of stopping it from spreading throughout the entire ship. But also just to segregate different rooms and separate stuff off, right? So here we are. It's quite good just for having a doorway. So we're going to give the captain his own chair, and look, we can even do a potted plant. We might pop one in there. That might be nice. Now he also likes to eat privately, so what we'll do, I think, is put some eating facilities in there as well. So that'll be pretty great. And what else do we have here? We have an office desk. We have a dresser. Nice. We've got storage containers. We're definitely going to want some of those. But I think possibly... Ooh, medicine supplies. That's new, since I only checked it out a couple of days ago. And all these bits and bobs are actually already new. So that's pretty interesting. So this might be a nice area to start our sort of general crew quarters. I think this will work for us quite well. So the next thing I think we need to look at is dealing with power, being able to refine resources. I think getting the refinery in is pretty important, along with life support and that sort of stuff. So I think that's going to be the next thing that we do. And what we might do is put it on a separate floor. So let's build a ladder, but we want to go up here. Okay, so this is going to be our new floor. Yes, there we go. It's a bit confusing, isn't it, to look at? Okay, so here is our new floor. And I think what we might do... How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? I'm just building out fairly randomly at the moment. I think we'll pop a room here. Quite looks rough, doesn't it? We'll have to play with this. You can toggle the grid off, which I think might be better, and then we can make this, we can decide what's ghosting and what isn't. I don't understand that. Have we put the ladder down? Maybe we've put the ladder down. Toggle exterior. Ooh. Because we can hide. If we go... Oh, we've put it below. Look, we've put it below. Okay, fine. It's below. I like the idea of being able to see when we're above what's below, which I think we can, but not being able to see above. Yeah, like that. I think that might be a little less confusing to look at. Right. So in here, I would like, what would I like? Well, for a start, we should probably put a bulkhead on it. We'll pop that there. And in here, we will have the refinery. Excellent. Now, we won't worry about that for the moment. We'll have the refinery. And I think maybe that's it. We could just put a pot plant in there, make it quite nice. Maybe I made this room a little big. I don't know. Might have done. And we will have, I think, a little area off of here. I think I might do that. And in here, power cells. So they're like our batteries. And then we also need life support. Okay. There's our life support. I think I've now made this so that we're going to have cabling everywhere. It's not going to be super refined, this building. We might just stick down there. It's not going to be super refined. Okay. Okay. Now, we have to power all of this stuff, and we've got some solar panels here, so we might build some rigging. Like this. And pop on some solar panels like this. And then cable all this up, because this needs power. I don't think anything else in the base that I've built at the moment does, but these things certainly do. So I think that'll be pretty good. That'll work for us. I forget how many each life support system, how many meeples it supports, but I think it's quite a lot. I think it does quite well. So yeah. Okay, so we can now refine. We've got power and life support, so we'll be able to have oxygen, which is always nice. Now, getting in and out of the ship and trade, I think, is going to be our next thing. Okay, so we have now built down the ship, and we have built this little area, so we've got a trading dock here, another way in and out so that our meeples can leave and go and mine and whatnot. This is all storage here, and then we also have a suit rack so they can put on their astronaut suit and jump out the airlock. Medical supplies, not seen those before. And then we had loads of credits left over, so I've added on more life support and another battery, loads more solar panels, and we've also added in this laboratory, which means that we should be able to start researching once we have enough of the little meeples. So with our station built, and I think it's all right, we can now launch it. And we come to this screen, which is our space, and you can pretty much go wherever you want, but these red areas are where you are going to encounter pirates. So you can see here, this is 2 pirate zones crossing over each other, and it says here that it is infested with pirates, and it's minus 100% trade, so that's not amazing. Whereas these are trade routes over here, so you can see, look, with all these trades intersecting, we're getting 400% trade. The richness is high, but there's only one resource of stellium. And I always think that it's probably worth trying to start in a reasonably good location that has at least three different base materials. I think that's always a good way to go. So let's find a location that doesn't have pirates, as we don't want to get too complicated. And I've noticed that pirates pretty much just obliterate your entire base and everybody on it, so I'm not sure how up for that I am. So let's find a good spot. So I think here, this is where we're going to go. Having trouble finding decent locations with 3 resources, but this is pretty good. I think as long as you have stellium, you know, you're going to be doing all right. And look at the trade, plus 350%. It's pretty good. We're going to go here. And we're going to jump. Here we are. It's worth picking your location quite well because you will be stuck here for a while. That is a thing. So later on, when you've researched it, you'll be able to research fuel and jump drives and all this sort of stuff, and then you'll be able to go back to the map and jump to wherever you want, but you will need the fuel and the power in order to be able to do it. So your first location you will be at for quite a while you develop and get to that point. And you can see here that let's pause it. You can see here that we have jumped to a location and we have a couple of different resources available here for mining, which is great. And our little base with our little meeples, here they are. So let's have a look at our meeples. So we've got 4 here, and I think I'm going to name them after my Patreons, my VIPs. Now, the first thing that we need to do before we can start assigning roles to meeples is assign a captain. So you can see here we have a hierarchy, and at the moment most of these are locked, but they will become unlocked as we work down the line. For now though, a captain is required to delegate roles to your crew. So we need to pick a captain. I'm not really sure which traits are most important for a captain. Claustrophobic, that's not exactly amazing. To be honest. Antisocial. So this character might be good as a miner because they're quite good at being on their own, although the weak stature is a bit of a problem for that. Awkward with others, again, they might be good, but they're claustrophobic. I'm not sure if that's good for miners. We could give it a go and see what happens. Diligent worker. Confident, gracious with others. So we might make this person here our captain. Okay, and they instantly put on their captain's clobber, although it's still paused. Now, let's see here. Let's name this after, let's see, actually, we're going to name the first one Zeke. We'll make the captain Zeke. I think that'll be pretty good. Right, now we can assign roles. So we've got all kinds of roles here. Miner, engineer, refiner, janitor, scientist, botanist, hazmeep, I like it, guard, doctor, all kinds we have kicking around here. You're going to want a miner and a janitor pretty quickly. Probably along with an engineer and a refiner. So we're going to hope for Meeple to come pretty quickly. So let's have a look. Miner. Astrophobia. Avoid that. So what we're thinking, somebody who's antisocial and is quite good at being on their own. So this person might be a good miner. We'll give that a go. I'm not sure if the claustrophobic thing's going to be an issue or not. So let's name our miner. We're going to name our miner Krath after one of my patrons. There we go. My VIPs, my very important peeps. Now we need a janitor, somebody to keep everything clean. Let's see here. But then we're also going to need, I think, a refiner pretty quickly. So avoid clumsy. Let's see. So we might make them the refiner. Okay, so you're going to be our... Okay, this is troublesome. We're going to make this person our refiner. We might make this Sir Lord Gamer. There we go. Can be our refiner, and then we're going to have a janitor, and this here can be Mac. And as we gain more meeples, I'll name them after my other Patreons. Yeah, so here we go. We'll give this a go, because if they get really unhappy, they will hurl themselves out of an airlock. It's a little bit of a worry. Indeed it is. So let's press play. Let's stop all that from flashing. So we need to go and mine stuff, right? We need to do this. So if we salvage, mine a bunch of stuff over here. So we'll get that done. A bunch of that. Yeah. We'll queue up lots to mine. Okay, queue up lots of that to mine. Okay. And because I built lots of storage, you can see here that we have plenty of storage. This is how renowned we are, which is important. Unlocking things, moving forwards. Indeed it is. Now, okay, mining's pretty noisy. He's mining right now. You okay over here? He's on it. He's on it. He's doing good work. Okay. Now, another thing that we will need to do is process the goods that we have coming in. So we're going to want to process our stellium pretty much infinitely. So we're going to put a ticket in there. And then look, here's our research bench. So we can get into advanced refining. For shield generators, look, fuel processors, quantum engines. So this is the line you're going to want to go down if you want to change the location of where your ship is. So advanced circuitry, which is part of the dilithium reactor and all that sort of stuff. More technologies are in development, fair enough. And botany and advanced power cells. So the botany is quite good because then you can start eating greens, plants that you're growing, and you can either supplement that to your fish diet or replace it. It does seem to be more efficient, the plant stuff, and I think they're a bit happier eating it as well. Oh look, I put a bit of glass platform in because we just had some stuff left over. I'm not sure, I thought a nice window in the rec area might be nice. Oh, and we should assign our sleeping quarters, definitely. So who is our captain again? It's Zeke. How could I forget that? How could I forget that? Now I feel like I've got a button issue here. We used to be able to just hover over it and assign it. Maybe I need my meeples up for this. Do I need to select the meeple? There is a way of assigning rooms. There is a way of assigning rooms. I used to be able to just hover over the bed and assign it. That doesn't seem to be happening here anymore. They all seem to be bickering with each other a lot. He's used public dining. Yeah, I know. I got you a room to try and assign this. I don't really know how to do it though. It's becoming a problem. I don't know why it keeps zooming in like that. Oh, I know. It's going to be the level that we're on. We need to change the level. The levels are really quite difficult to read. There we go. We're going to assign this room to Zeke. Yeah. So this room's modest. That's not so bad. But it's public quarters. If we assign it, then this entire room would be to one person. And that's not what we want at all. Had a social conflict. Meeple with very different social traits will often find it difficult to get along. It's recommended that they don't work closely. So Mac here keeps bickering, I think, with the captain. He's antisocial. Mac is antisocial, so it's. But then he lacks privacy. It's a real shame. It's a real shame. So we can see. Here that Krath is working away and gaining materials, and then over here they are being refined. Where are we? He's refining them into this steelite, which is important because if we want to build stuff, it now has a cost value in materials. So you can see here that all this sort of stuff takes steelite. And then it moves into other materials as well. So now we can see that all these different types of materials and costs start to occur. Now we can only mine, and then you get into alloys as well. So we can only mine beryllium and stellium, but we can't do the brothium or brothium. Or dilithium. So we're only going to be able to refine a couple of things, and that's where trade will come in. Trade what we can. Oh,
There's a pathfinding issue here, is there? Should we cancel that one? That might help. He's got a little. There we go. Should we get rid of that? Should we get rid of that? Ah. Is that better? Is that better? Sometimes we do find structures sort of built into this stuff that you can also salvage for materials, which is fantastic. Pretty fantastic. Okay, so let's leave it running a while. There is a bit of that, leaving it running near the beginning of the game, like, you know, like it is with these games, right? These things can take just a little bit of time for things to move forward. So the game gives you time to do that. Oh look, see, look, we can do our refinery from here as well, which is nice. Find our research builds, salvage and mine. Excellent. Excellent. And cancel things. Yeah, so I think what we'll do now is wait for our first trade ship. So I'm sitting here waiting for trade. And it's not arriving. And you used to have to assign the docking gantry, and over here it does say trade docks. If you want to trade resources, you should designate a docking gantry for trade. Hover over the outside airlock and select it to bring up the docking menu. I mean, that's disgusting imagery to bring it up. There we go. Enable trade. Okay, yeah, so it has changed a little bit. It's better now. It's better than it was, but because it changed, I was a little bit confused. But there we go. Okay, so now I can expect trade. Okay, so here it is. Our first trade ship. Look at everybody trading. When a trade ship docks at your station, you can click on it to open the trade menu. And we've also gained a new meeple. Problem with this is that we actually can't see this new meeple. So we're just going to pause this a minute. I can't actually see the new meeple with this particular. He'll be behind there. Oh no, we don't have one. It's just saying that he could come. New meeple will occasionally join. He's obviously not here, so it's obviously not here. Right, now first things first, we've also got some beryllium, so I need to assign a ticket, create a ticket, because we can now create this add. And do you know what we'll do? We will now let's see, always have 50 of this, maybe, not sure, or he'll produce it once perhaps. Yeah, okay, so the work orders maybe we could do with a little bit extra on the old work orders. That might not be a bad thing. A little more detail on this might be nice. I'm sure it'll come in time. So we would like to trade. So I need to go back down to here. And look, we have our trading menu. And we can see here it says Meeple will join your station when you have more renown and more bedding. So we know we've got the more bedding, but we could build up some renown. And then Meeple will come and join us. So yeah, so here we can trade, and we can see that the trader's got all sorts of stuff with them. And what we might be able to do is buy some raw materials, and then we can always process it ourselves, right? So what, and we could sell, look, if we sold some stellium like this, and then we could buy up some resources like that, and then we could process them ourselves. It's a cheaper way of doing it, is my thinking. There we go. So there we are. So we've traded with them, and then we can come back to this workbench and create tickets. So what would we like to make? Let's have a think here. So I mean, separate bedrooms would be a really good thing to do, I would say. A pretty good thing to do. But maybe we could open up some research. We should probably... Well, we don't have a researcher, I don't think, at the moment. We need a Meeple to join us for that. But I'm thinking we could research botany and get better food. But you could go down whichever route you want. What could we build? Wow, I'm pressing all the buttons. How about I press the build button? So look at all this stuff. So the planting bay we need to unlock through botany with the food dispenser. Look, there's a shield generator and a large turret, so you could see all these materials that we might need to produce. New achievement, production line, fantastic. Oh look, more trade has arrived. If we want to make more beds, look at this. The office desk, I'm not quite sure what the office desk is used for. Some tool tips on things would be really nice, just to give us a better idea. Well, I suppose this is a tool tip that's popping up here, but I feel like it's not giving us enough information. Did we get a new Meeple? No, doesn't look like it. Sad times, sad times. We have to go down to the floor to select it. So we actually do have quite a lot of this raw material. It's interesting. So we could, we'd probably do better to balance it. Mac is very unhappy as the janitor. So it'd be really nice if we could get another Meeple, so we could replace somebody who'd be good as a janitor, and then maybe give Mac the research job or something like that. But yeah, so I mean, I think we've largely gone over the basics here of Meeple Station. I do have some minor gripes with it, which I've covered while I've been playing it, but I think that it's really interesting and it's going in a nice direction. But I do feel that if you're going to put a game into early release, all of a sudden a decent tutorial is vitally important, and this game is lacking that at the moment. I mean, a tutorial would usually be one of the last things that you make, but I do think that with early access, where you're relying on new players coming in and getting into the game, this is not, it's not enough. There's a lot of confusion about how to play this game when you first come into it quite cold. I've had a lot of trouble learning the basics of how to play it. So a tutorial could make it much more accessible for bringing a wider new player base in and keeping them interested. But I mean, they are adding stuff to this game all the time. So we've looked at building and basic management and salvage and some basic trade, but it can get really crazy with much larger bases when you've researched a lot more and you get into having to defend your base and having to survive natural disasters. So yeah, it's looking really great for Meeple Station. I would say it's definitely one to watch. Yeah, and maybe pick it up. Meeple Station, everybody. Meeple Station. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, please hit that like button. As long as you are here, why not take your first step on the path to total coolness by supporting me via Patreon. The cooler you are, the harder I work, which means even more schizwa.